Hello and welcome to the Nattercast for Game of Thrones, episode 409, entitled The Watchers on the Wall. I am Jason Schenkel of Schenkel Studios, and I'm here tonight with my small council, Haselo Small Council.
Hello.
Hello.
And that is Sion.
Howdy ho.
Sion Isaac Schenkel of Schenkel Studios.
That would be me.
That's Danielle Ekite.
Hello.
And Miss Molly.
Hello.
And Shane and Alan are on assignment this week, so it's just...
I think we should start with interviewing Molly just a little bit to say what she did this weekend.
Oh, yeah. How was your weekend?
I
What did you
probably
do?
have a little bit huskier voice because I spent the whole weekend in a Las Vegas casino full of cigarette smoke.
And naked women?
I thought it was hooting and hollering for the dancers.
Well, there's a little bit of that too.
The truth comes out.
Okay, there was a lot of that.
Yep.
No, it was the Burlesque Hall of Fame Weekender as a fundraiser for the Burlesque Hall of Fame, and I volunteer for them, and so this was our big event, and it went off fabulously, and there were lots of beautiful people in sparkly gowns, and lots of amazing performances, and if you're interested in anything burlesque, you should go check it out, because it's quite a happening scene these days, so...
Awesome.
Nice.
Awesome.
That's where I was.
And that's why you were on assignment last week?
That is why I was on assignment last week. I was on a plane.
We have nothing but the most evolved, sexiest women on our podcast.
Absolutely.
International Women of Mystery.
I don't know if any of the other podcasts can say that.
No, not the most sexy.
Matter of fact, and we're going to up the ante.
Are we?
Yes.
This
What the Orange is the New Black cast.
Oh, well, yeah. So
We're gonna get-
Let's not say sexy and mention my daughters in the same room.
Mama Bear,
We're
come here.
going to do a nice diversity age range starting
Yep.
from 18 up
Yeah.
of
Sometimes
hot young women.
after Game of Thrones finishes, Orange is the
I'd like to
Black.
see Ball Move try to compete with that.
Yeah, well, they've got a parade of women going through there. It's just, it's a party palace, so you can have to compete
And
with
they're in my
that.
house. The women are in my house. It's not Skype. They're here.
You know, I think we should dress up in our best prison garb and take a photo.
Can I wear my evil doctor outfit?
Yeah.
I'll be the prison doctor.
See, and I always put the girls in front of me because then I look thinner. You put young, beautiful girls in front of you, and it blocks a few cents.
Every time.
But I think we need like orange scrubs or something, and I can recreate my chola from a couple of Halloweens ago. I was a chola at work.
Oh yeah, that would be
nice.
awesome.
And I even made like hickeys out of lipstick on my neck.
Of course you
and,
did.
I had the
Chola.
La Vida Loca dots, and
Oh man,
it was quite fun.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Quite fun.
It's gonna
Well
be it's gonna be a fun
There's
day.
if you snoop
At
on
the
my
Schenkel
profile,
House.
there's a picture of
We're gonna be talking about
me
all the
with the village
lesbian
people.
sex.
How did we get so derailed so quickly?
you let Sion in the room.
It's like we're cholas, lesbian prison sex. We're gonna have
It's almost like Game of
family
Thrones.
podcast hour.
It's cleaner than Game of Thrones. There has yet to be any incest on Orange,
Oh, well,
True.
see?
So far,
There you go.
and there's not been a lot of murder,
Not a
not
lot.
a lot of murder.
and not a lot
It's
of
not
rape
Oz.
either.
It's not.
No.
Some.
A lot.
Some.
It's a lot less rapey than you would think.
It's less rapey than you'd think.
Right.
Okay, so anyways, we can go to Game of Thrones.
A lot less nudity.
Yeah. Just the shower scene. It's like, oh, here's your women in prison shower scene, and then the toilet backs up, and
Ew.
they're all screaming, and
And everybody has natural bodies except for the lead,
everyone has a natural body that they're covering up this way and that way.
Yeah.
or not.
This is not the women in prison movie that I remember. They're much better.
This one's much better.
All right, so on the show in question, Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah.
So what do we all think before we roll to the recap? There was a lot of controversy on this episode. Not controversy so much, but like a lot of people loved it and hated it. I noticed that there was like a wide divide. Yeah, what'd you guys think of it? Let's start with Molly.
I thought it was pretty awesome. I mean,
Did you like it?
I did watch it twice in one night.
I always do.
Just to get caught up. But no, I really liked it. I thought it was a great battle. They put in some really good moments that gave you some insight into some of the characters. And, I thought it came together really well.
Great.
Yeah.
Danielle?
I'm a bookie, so it was just interesting to see the deviations and, like the kid Ollie, he's not in the books, and so different things like that. So it's always interesting to me to see the spin that they go with,
Right.
and the deviations,
Right.
and so and I did mean to go back and reread that chapter or the chapters around this, and I didn't get a chance to. But I think a lot of it was very well done.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes with deviations, it makes me wonder about the future because sometimes it leads into events that happen lead into motivations later on. But overall, it was really good. And I loved Egret when she did that roll off the roof. And I mean, obviously, it was probably a stunt person.
But
we couldn't see her
still,
face.
it was
but it was
great.
Yeah, but it was Egret. It just
It was
wasn't,
Egret.
It just wasn't Rose. What's her name?
Yep.
What'd you
was
think,
good.
honey?
I was like, finally. It's sort of like popping a zit or waiting for your period. It's like we finally got some good action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I really loved that ice scraper.
The Scythe.
Yeah.
The Scythe was that's
That
not in
was
the book.
fantastic.
That's a show original,
That is
baby.
absolutely
I want one for the
original.
front of the house.
Yeah, we can get rid of the bougainvillea
I want people that sit on the porch
and park in our driveway.
and take pictures.
Every day I come home.
We have
there's
a really, Sion owns an extremely large red fiery bush.
also a plant.
Oh, you have a ginger minge too? I thought it was just Molly. No.
I'm not telling.
Well, the top's a little red there.
It's just a regular ash blonde. Little patches
Little
of
patch.
nothingness.
So yeah, I mean, I basically agree. I thought it was really good. I was comparing it to Blackwater a lot. And that's
Right.
You have a lot of similar moments. And I actually, and I know this is sacrilege. I loved Blackwater. I thought it's one of my top 5 episodes for sure.
Oh, yeah.
top 3. I think I like this one better. I thought the battle. There's so much more swordplay with primary characters.
There's some great nuanced acting with women.
Yeah.
With women, there's women
Right.
involved.
I think one of the big differences between Blackwater and this one, though, is we're not as invested in as many characters at the wall as we are with King's Landing.
No, but in Blackwater though, I was pretty much only invested in Tyrion. It's like
Right.
the Hound has his moment and that kind of stuff or whatever. But if you take
Right.
Tyrion out of that show, that episode, I'm pretty much rooting for Stannis.
Right.
Right, and so in this we had multiple characters that we are not maybe as deeply invested in as Tyrion, but
Right.
that have points of view that we grasp and that we understand. So yeah, and I kind of felt like if you don't like this episode, what are you really waiting around for? They
Right.
It's not like they didn't drag this battle out long enough. It's
Right.
been years,
Right.
So
It was good to have a little more time with Maester Lewin. Not Lewin. Sorry, that was
Aemon.
Winterfell. Maester Aemon. Because it had been a long time since we'd seen him. And I think a lot of people kind of forgot about him, forgot he was a Targaryen.
Right.
right.
So I think some of that was kind of refreshing our memories. Like, I'm sure some people at first weren't sure exactly or didn't recall Pip and Grin. And
Yeah.
I'm glad that they played more significant roles.
Yeah. I mean, there was a certain quality that's just unavoidable of a big blur of crusty white dudes in beards and black clothing running in a circle and figuring out which one of them they should kill because apparently they can identify each other. Like that. So we have a little listener feedback too.
Yes, we do.
Why don't you go ahead and pick whichever page you want?
Oh,
to
I
do.
could pick whatever
You get
I
to pick,
want.
yeah. Wow. Well, it'll take too long about it.
Well, I will start with Philip Zierman.
Philip Zierman.
Bring in the Z.
Always
Yeah,
bring them
always
back.
bring the Z.
I wouldn't say I hate the episode. It was still an enjoyable 48 minutes of television. But I would say it was disappointing because they were clearly trying to recapture the magic of last season's Battle of Blackwater episode, but they hadn't laid the groundwork for making us care about the characters we were seeing. So much of the dramatic tension rested on the shoulders of Kit Harington and a bunch of characters who I doubt most of us could name or tell you a thing about their backstories.
We can.
Right.
Given how important Jon Snow is to the storytelling going forward, they really needed to do a much better job of building up his character and that of the other members of the Night's Watch. The other thing I'm comparing it to is how I remember the battle playing out in A Storm of Swords. In the book, this was a much more epic battle. Without spoiling things for non-readers, the moment when Jon takes charge of the defense of the wall was much more dramatic than it was on the show, and laid the groundwork for his earning the respect and admiration of his brothers in arms.
That's true. I think they went with the chevauché.
Well, he was told to take the wall, and I can't remember who told him to take the wall. But in the episode, other people were told to take the wall, and John was never told that.
So in the TV show, Janos Slint is told to take the wall, and then he gets summoned down and he gives it to John.
And then John, no, he doesn't give it to him. He just goes.
He just goes. Well, John,
right. And then later, John gives it to Ed.
Right.
But nobody really gives it to John.
Right.
It was Grin just getting rid of Janus.
That's true.
Yeah.
And kind of in response to what Philip said, it is a much longer battle.
Yeah.
And the men of the Night's Watch are just exhausted.
It's the bulk of the book.
And they're just, it's really bad.
Yeah.
And they're just barely hanging on. Where, obviously we saw a lot of deaths, but we didn't really see them being much worse for the wear. I mean, even Jon Snow, he takes that anvil to the face.
Right.
And then 2 minutes later, he's like, hey, baby.
2 seconds, he's fine.
And he walks off without a backpack.
He has got a concrete skull. When we saw him take that hit, and he's still walking around.
I was like, that would knock anyone else out.
Yeah. No,
right.
That was serious
His
brain
nose would be
bruise
busted
injury.
at least.
Yeah.
He would be concussed and probably missing a lot of teeth.
Yeah. It'd be
Possibly.
pretty rough.
Yeah.
Pretty rough. Let's have the one more of them.
Alrighty. We'll do Hannah.
Yeah.
Loveless Pal All. I definitely appreciated this spectacle. I felt like I was watching the bard's version of certain tales from an epic battle, more so than just strict reality. I thought it was an epic telling and showing. The only thing wrong with this episode was that it was too short. I would agree with you.
More Skype.
Yeah. More kaleidoscope crane cameras.
Yes.
I also sincerely hope no woolies were hurt in the filming. I love seeing the mammoth in the battle. Yes, me too. And I've never seen any men braver than those knights facing that freaking giant. For the first time, the battle wasn't ruined for me by the violence. I understood every kill because these boys and men weren't fighting for ideas or for a leader's reputation. They were fighting giants and wildlings and men armed with mammoths to keep them from the rest of the world. Jon Snow joining the battle downstairs with the music swelling just right. Loved it. What a hero moment. I can't believe he's still alive. And then the other side of the coin with what's his name losing his oath and mind to be found out by both Jilly and Sam hiding. Yeah. I need a resolution to that. That slime bag.
The slime bag.
Janos
Slint.
Yes. Was he alive still?
Yeah, he was.
He's still alive.
He was alive and well because he hid.
He hid.
Because I thought for a second it looked like she killed him.
Tyrion sent him to the wall, and now he's cowering there.
No, when Grin sent him down to back up Alistair, he immediately went and hid and stayed
in a
hidden
supply
the whole time.
closet.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
we found Jilly there. Or Gilly.
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 Gilly. What's to be found? Both Gilly and Sam hiding. What a brutal, exhilarating episode. And then we have Jay Greenspan. It's just amazing how different episodes affect different people. Seems like some percentage of the audience is bound to hate each episode. Correct.
Yeah.
Can't think of another show where there's so much opinion shifted from week to week. And I think that that's kind of cool and chewy.
I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And Jay didn't really like this episode. But some people did, and some people didn't. There we go.
360 crane shot.
Okay, so well, let's just start rolling into the recap, shall we? So I'm picking up at the beginning here, and we open up on the wall with John and Sam up on the wall, and howling wind and everything else. Mm-hmm. And we pull in, and they're having a conversation, and basically Sam is like, "Look, we're gonna die. Just tell me what it's like, you know."
Yep.
Coitus, vagina. And Jon Snow evidently does know nothing. He's a complete loss for words. You know?
She did everything.
There's like this other person there, and then you're part of that person. I'm not a poet. And she's like, I didn't ask you for poetry. Just medically, what does it feel like?
Medically.
Just give me a sense of what I'm in,
It's a lot of warm and wet.
It's warm, wet, and movement. We're having an invasion. Animal.
Our own little Tyrion.
Our own little Tyrion. All
pop
right.
the door
We'll
open.
let it run and see what happens. Okay, so the what I thought was interesting about this is like Sam asks how good is it or how great is it? It's like, I'm here, aren't I? How good could it possibly be? They're chosen to be in Castle Black rather than the sex cave.
I think he regrets that later.
Yeah, regret it later. Yeah. So then we cut across, just so to be sure that to hit both of the sides of our romance here. We have Ygritte, and she's sitting and fletching arrows.
Can I go back for 1 second?
Sure.
There was a part of the Sam and John conversation that I really liked, and that was Sam's particular interpretation of the vows.
Oh yes, yes, that's right. That's right.
And it was like, well, it says you can't take a wife, and it says you can't have children.
Doesn't say you can't do the nasty.
Yeah.
Doesn't say no nasty for
No,
you.
it doesn't say anything about the rest of it.
Who knew Sam had it in him?
I know. It's like,
He's been looking for a loophole.
He's
been reading the books. He's been looking for a loophole.
He's quite the intellect.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he is like, he's got
I really like
razor
Sam.
sharp mind.
Yeah, in this episode.
And he was also quite the gentleman, because they start talking about, well, did you ever do it with Gilly? And he's like, well, she never asked.
And she just had.
I'm like,
Yeah.
oh,
she just had a baby.
And
she
very
didn't
nice
ask.
of you to
Yeah.
respect her that way.
Yeah, it's refreshing for this show.
Yeah, it is.
That a proffer must be made before any efforts are put in.
Yeah. Okay, that was all I had.
Okay, yeah, no, you're well caught there. So anyway, back at Camp Wilding, so there's Ygritte, and she's fletching away at her arrows, and Tormund is telling. This is a bit of fan service from the book. He's telling this story about the bear, and evidently he was the maiden fair in this particular tale, and he's bragging basically about having bedded a bear, a she bear. Oh, her claws were sharp, but she knew what to do with them. It's like, and also these people are walking for like weeks at a time, right? He's telling this story every fucking night.
Yeah.
Every night you got to listen to the bear story.
Right.
And she's a little tired of it.
A little tired of it. Well, she's coming up on realizing that she has to kill John, or somebody's going to kill him.
Yeah.
So what did you make of it when she says, like, first of all, she shuts him down. It's like, I'm tired of your bear story. You never fuck no bear. I got to make all these arrows. And then, like, I forget if it was one of the Thens or Tormund was bragging about killing Jon Snow. I'll kill that little bastard.
It's one of the Thin Warriors.
The Thin Warriors, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And she's like, whoever, kills him is going to get an arrow from me.
Yeah.
And is that, what percentage of that is I want to kill him myself because I've been mistreated, and what percentage of it is I care about Jon Snow and I don't want to hand him over to my people?
I think she's just trying to save face. Prove that she's a badass wilding bitch, and little curly locks didn't turn her out.
Yeah, I think there's something to that. If she takes John down
that's
herself,
part of it.
yeah,
Absolutely.
all right, fair enough.
Yeah, I can't say that the Thin Warrior was much of a gentleman with the Greek, though.
No. He's tall too. She's like
Yeah.
staring up from his navel. I'll take you out and all of your bigger relatives. And then we have let's see, Sam in the library with Maester Aemon and the candlestick.
Yes.
Actually, literally with the candlestick and Maester Aemon. And Aemon's talking about you must be in here like trying to find out, trying to figure out all the terrible things that might happen to the woman that you love. And Sam denies that he's in love with her, and I have some audio on that, so let's play the clip.
Oh, I don't love her.
Yes, you do.
No.
Yes, you do. Heard it in your voice when you first brought her to me. I remember how it sounds. I was in love once.
You were?
You can imagine all manner of horrors befalling that poor girl and her child. Is it so difficult to imagine that an old person was once, more or less, like you?
I'm sorry, Maester. I didn't mean it like that.
You know who I was before I came here? What I could have been if I'd only said the word? Of course you do. I met many girls when I was Aemon Targaryen. A future king always does. Some of them were quite forward in their attempts to win my affections. One of them succeeded. I was very young.
Who was she?
I could tell you everything about her. Who she was, how we met, the color of her eyes, and the shape of her nose. I can see her right in front of me. She's more real than you are. We could spend all night trading tales of lost loves. Nothing makes the past a sweeter place to visit than the prospect of imminent death. Go to bed, Tarly.
I like that. I think that's part of this episode is that a lot of these minor characters got their moments.
Yeah,
You know, this was like a great
absolutely.
Meister Aemon, connection.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's, Sam is worried, and blah blah blah. Where am I? I'm losing it. Okay, well then he comes out, and as he's hearing, he overhears Gilly. There we go. There's my notes. And she's begging to let at the gate.
Right.
And the guy's like not letting her in because those are his orders.
Oh, that was Pip.
It was Pip, right. And I love this bit too because I really have enjoyed how Sam kind of has manned up here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sam comes down and says, "Open the fucking gate!" And this is when I noticed that he's been losing a little weight too.
Yes, the actor,
The
the
actor's a
actor
little
is
slimmer.
definitely significantly thinner.
Yeah, and his face is a little more square now when he
You
sets
get-
his jaw in the
yeah, his-
line readings. You
can read his face better.
And
yeah.
it was at Pip who says, I never heard you swear before. It's like, oh, get used to it. So he's becoming a crusty old man. By the time his beard is white, he'll
Well,
be.
he's been doing a lot of trekking.
He's been doing a lot of trekking.
Yeah.
So he gets Gilly in, and he takes her and he puts her like in a root cellar, which is like pretty much the best he could possibly do. And he's going to go off and fight. She says, "You said you'd never leave me." It's like, I didn't say we'd be in the same room all the time. I meant,
Totally made me
I'm
laugh.
not going to abandon you again. But she wants him to stay with her through the battle, and he can't, because it's his he's made his pledge here.
And how could he promise to stand by her forever? He's a man of the Night's Watch.
Well, he's been working on some
He's working on how
loopholes
he
and
can do
technicalities that he thinks he can work with.
I don't think there's a technicality that says you can harbor a woman at the wall.
Well, when does love ever make any sense? He's in love.
that's
Yeah.
If the entire wall gets destroyed by this war,
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, here's Sam and Gilly.
You'll be safe down here. I'll check on you as soon as I can.
You're leaving me again.
I'm not leaving you.
You're going up there and we're staying down here. That's leaving. You said from now on we'd stay together.
I didn't mean in the same room.
What are you going to do out there?
Help my brother.
How? You're going to fight the free folk when they come? They'll kill you. In Molestown, they kill
feisty.
everyone.
I can't just hide here with you while they're fighting out there.
Why not? You won't matter up there. You will down here.
I am a man of the Night's Watch, Gilly. I made a promise to defend the wall, and I have to keep it. Because that's what men do.
Go, Sam, go.
Promise me you won't die.
I promise you, I won't die.
Yeah, I like that scene. I got a little Sam and Gilly shipping going on
Uh-huh.
since this episode. I'm starting to feel like here's two common human people filled with common human decency.
Yeah.
Perhaps maybe they should prevail.
Plus, it was like you said, he's starting to man up. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm a man. I have to fulfill my promise and my oath.
And he's speaking. It's kind of like Sansa. He's speaking now in a way from his own agency where he hasn't before. Before he's been hassled into doing a bunch of stuff that's not his idea.
Right.
And now he's like, no, this is part of my identity. I really care about this, and I care about the loyalty I have with these guys. And it's a little bit like Sansa, kind of like witching up last episode, like figuring out that she needs to play this game, the Littlefinger way. So it's nice to see the characters mature. Let me put it that way. Okay, so then Sam heads up to the wall, and we hear a horn sounding, and we see a warg, and I believe we have Miss Molly's segment.
Yes. I was going to say the good thing the Thenns had a warg since Jon went and killed the wildlings one. But it's not so good for Castle Black. And as he hears the horns, they start looking around, and they see the largest fire they've ever seen.
The biggest fart the North has ever seen.
Thank you. I have a husky voice, but I couldn't do that. What I would like to know is how in the world did he light a fire that big, that fast?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know. I've been camping for many years. I know how to light a fire.
Well,
it takes time.
Well, he had a lot of guys, right? So
he may have a lot of guys, but the whole forest was...
Was it dead? Was dead wood?
It was the whole... It was like a giant... It wasn't a circle of fire.
Right.
It was a gigantic sphere of fire. Everything was filled in the center. Mm-hmm. You would expect to start seeing fire
it didn't
before.
Grow slowly.
Yeah. So anyway, I was just like, okay, bam, instant fire. Where's the gas lighter?
Yes.
But it was the biggest fire that anyone's ever seen north of the wall. Blah blah blah.
Yep.
And so yes, Mance's really coming, and this is we move into the crows starting to prepare for battle, and they're kind of bumbling, and Sir Alistair is talking to Jon Snow, going. Well, here's where you get to say, I told you so, basically, is what he's saying. And, but, Jon actually took the high road. He didn't go there. He didn't rub it in his face. He was like, well, leadership's a very difficult position.
Yeah, it was a tough call.
Yeah.
That's what you always say to somebody.
Exactly.
Because you can't bullshit. You can't say, oh, I actually agree with you now.
Yeah, no, because it would have been the right thing to do, but he didn't do it, and so...
And then we have Sam up on the wall with the crossbow. I think we skipped over that. We actually have a little more Sam audio.
I think that's later.
Or is that later?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
At least it's later in my notes.
Okay, cool. Whenever you like it, let me know.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
And let's see. They're I guess we should actually play the audio now.
This is Sam up on the wall with his... Is it Pip he's up on the wall with? Who's he up on the wall?
I'm not sure.
He's up on the battlement, and he's like...
You mean the one he's loading the bows for?
Yeah.
Pip.
Pip,
It is
right.
Pip, okay.
So Pip is afraid.
You're not afraid? Of course I'm afraid. There's a band of wildlings coming to kill us.
Well, if you're afraid of a band of wildlings, how in seven hells did you manage to kill a White Walker?
I didn't know I was going to kill it. But I had to do something. I didn't have any choice. It was going to kill Gilly and take the baby. If someone had asked me my name, right then, I wouldn't have known. I wasn't Samwell Tarly anymore. I wasn't a steward in the Night's Watch or son of Randall Tarly or any of that. I was nothing at all. And when you're nothing at all, there's no more reason to be afraid.
But you're afraid now.
Yes, well, I'm not nothing anymore.
So I like you said, I'm not nothing anymore.
Right.
So what something is he? Is he a man of the Night's Watch, or is he the man in Gilly's life?
He's both.
He's both. Yeah. I think he's thinking of both of those things in his head. He's thinking about the promise, he just made to her of not dying. And, also his oath. And that's why he's up on the wall loading crossbows and not hiding in the cellar with her. And I think it's interesting how he becomes the voice of reason, explaining these sorts of things to all the action hero crows that have always kind of made fun of him.
Well, now they're facing the real thing because they've been fronting. They haven't had a lot. They haven't had much in the way of combat.
Right.
Now they're facing the real thing, and I do like the whole theme of course I'm scared. Of course I'm terrified.
Right.
I'm barely holding it together, but you have to just do the thing that has to be done.
Right.
He said the White Walker's was gonna walk off with Gilly and the baby. I was gonna die trying to prevent that from happening.
Right.
Yeah.
So good on Sam.
And early Sam, nobody liked. John had pity for him.
Right.
But nobody liked him. Nobody had any respect for him.
Right.
Nobody thought he had anything to give.
Yep.
And over time, he has, even though he's still a scaredy cat and whatever, he's proven himself in many ways, and his intelligence has helped.
Right.
Yeah.
And in this episode, he really stepped the hell up.
Oh, absolutely.
Sam. This was peak Sam.
Yeah.
I'd say this episode. Besides killing a White Walker, which is pretty awesome, but it's like said that there's little choice. In this case, we see that Sam has a choice. We see Janice Slint.
Right.
That's what cowardice looks like.
Yeah.
Right.
And Sam is a fraidy cat, but he's not a coward.
Right.
Right. And
he's actually being very courageous.
He's being very courageous.
Yeah.
And so we're seeing the difference between not being afraid and being courageous. Right.
Yeah.
And we're also seeing that a lot of the, Alicers and Janice and all these guys, they're kind of fronting too, even the older generation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're trying to, it's like, this castle has stood for 1,000 years. That means absolutely nothing.
Right.
Castle could fall tomorrow.
Right.
Right.
Plenty of things have fallen that have lasted 1,000 years.
Yeah. And over the last 1,000 years, you probably had a lot more guys than 100.
You had more guys. There weren't ice zombies. You were fighting one of your own who knows your tactics. All this other stuff.
Exactly.
You had the support of the king. You could get backup
amazing.
guys.
Right.
Yeah.
You could get supplies.
Yeah.
Stuff, right?
Yeah, and so then we start hearing the horn again, and Sir Alistair starts looking around, and it's like the guy on the wall is going, "No, it wasn't me." And they look down and go, "Oh, they're attacking the south gate."
Run away!
Yeah, and it's like, "Oh, two fronts. Didn't see that one coming, did you?"
Right.
Yeah, too bad John did.
Yeah.
But
And it didn't really seem difficult to get over that gate.
No, it was really
way too easy,
actually.
Yeah. Like
and,
Dreadfort easy.
Yeah.
Just climb right up.
Yeah, and then the brother Slint being a complete and total coward, and running off as fast as he could to go hide during the battle. While Sir Alistair heads down to the South Gate to actually rally the troops and what troops he has and help them defend the South Gate. And I think you have a little more audio.
Yeah, I got some audio on that, but I also like the bit with Slint where he was just clearly so. I have some sympathy for him, even though I want to see a reckoning. Mostly because he's a general weasel, but you could see the total terror, things giants aren't real. It's just something you tell kids. It's like, if you haven't been thinking of giants as being real for these last couple of weeks,
right,
you've been wasting your time because the giants are here. You need to be thinking about fighting giants. And it's like, it's 4 inches of cold rolled steel. It's like these guys.
Who cares?
Later on we'll see they can shoot an arrow 700 feet up in the air and it'll still have enough momentum to burst through a wooden roof.
Yes.
And carry a guy another 100 feet up in the air.
Yeah, and it's not an arrow, it's a whale harpoon.
It can pick up 160 pounds, shoot it through a roof, and carry it into the sky.
Yeah.
I mean, the catapults can't do that. I don't know what kind of strength this guy has. So it was like finally like John's all of his. It's like this is all real. The snorks and grumblings are coming.
Right.
But then we have Alistair Thorne has his Tyrion Lannister at the Mudgate moment. So let's get that.
Brothers! 100 generations have defended this castle. She's never fallen before. She will not fall tonight. Those are Thenns on our walls. They eat the flesh of the men they kill. Do you want to fill the belly of a Thenn tonight? Tonight we fight. And when the sun rises, I promise you, Castle Black will stand. The Night's Watch will stand. With me now! Now with me!
It was a very good speech.
We could look that up, yeah.
It was a very good speech.
Right.
Especially because he was busting balls so much. It's nice to see to be on Alistair's side.
Yeah.
A little bit.
And I just wrote in my notes, and then there were giants and mammoths and bears. Oh my! No,
Yep.
wait, that was the story. But yeah, it was basically everything that John had said coming to pass. So
there we are. Okay? Are we near the end of your bit, or
yep,
are
we are at the end of my bit.
So we're moving on to Miss Danielle.
Oops, who's over here blotting my eyes? Okay.
Aw.
So, as we've already determined, Jaina Slint is scared shitless and is still in denial of the severity of the situation. But at least Alistair Thorne gets it now. And he's talking about Slint is talking about the men, about the wildlings. Mm-hmm. No discipline, no training. Gang of thieves, that's what it is. I commanded the city watch of King's Landing. Those men obeyed orders. Yeah, they were soldiers.
Yeah, big deal.
A, they were soldiers. B, this isn't King's fucking Landing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are criminals.
Wildlings who have dead people on their tail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are what do you call? These are criminals, and these are first sons who people didn't want to claim.
Yeah.
Throw over the wall because they want their second son to adopt.
Right.
That's his up here.
And then John's saying we just can't let him attack the gates, and that's where the gates are 4 inches thick steels.
Right.
We're kind of overlapping, aren't we? Then.
Yeah, it's kind of smearing it around.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just you can roll for it. I jumped ahead there a little bit.
Okay. All right. And then, John says there's a mammoth riding down there. Do you think that your cold rolled steel is going to stop them? And then Jaina said, okay, yeah. We didn't have a very even line there. Usually I overshoot. I don't know. And then that's when Gren pulls his brother Slint. Just got word that Sir Alistair needs you down below.
Right.
And he's just... Alistair, I mean, he's pretty much drooling out of the side of his face at this point. He's pretty delirious.
Yeah.
He's
I think the idea was to get Slint off the wall.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
That was my take.
He needs you to leave.
And of
Get
course,
him
the
outta
way
here.
to get him there is through his ego.
Right.
You're the most experienced man he's got. He needs you.
Yeah. Down here away from us.
And he's like, needed below. Yes. So then John takes over the wall because he's the only one left with any actual balls. And then
got balls.
Yeah, and then John starts with notch your arrows, draw, and loose.
Yeah, that's right.
And to my count, they're hitting about one out of every 5 or 6 wildlings that are advancing on the wall.
Yeah.
And
I said, they're going to need a whole lot
You're
more
gonna
arrows.
a whole lot of arrows.
a whole lot of arrows, too. And somewhere I had read or heard or something, an interesting comment, which made a hell of a lot of sense, is with the arrows lit up, the people on the ground can see them coming.
Well, yeah.
Right, but the idea is to also light up your own path so that you can see the targets better.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right, so
okay.
it's just like tracer bullets.
Got
Yeah.
it.
So they can see the arrows coming, but it's not like they don't know that you're up there. They can see you're up on the top of this wall.
But I'm just like, arrows coming out of the blind, they're going to hit you versus you're going to see a little fireball coming towards you.
Oh, right. Well, yeah.
You're going to duck.
You're going to duck, yeah.
Which Ygritte actually did.
Right.
Yeah.
So I have a question about medieval warfare.
Okay.
Would you, like tracer bullets, have people firing arrows that were not lit at the same time? I mean, because,
absolutely.
Because they showed everybody having a lit.
The flaming arrow thing was not like a huge deal,
right?
So, and you didn't fight at night a lot,
right?
Mostly you camped at night,
uh-huh.
and you're mostly fighting on open battlefields,
right?
And so it's like you don't really need the fire thing too much, but it was a tactic in castle warfare. Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So
it's mainly a castle warfare tactic.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
And this is also cases where what you're trying to do is to some degree or another, it requires like hurling oil and things like that. Is you want to take out their siege weapons. So you're not really shooting flaming arrows at guys.
Okay.
You're trying to destroy siege weapons by any means you can. So if you can get them covered in oil and you can shoot them with an arrow, that would be great.
Right.
Kind of
right. Okay.
Well, the oil didn't come until later, but anyways. So then we see the first of the climbers make it to the side of the wall and they start ascending, and then they show them dangling archers off the side of the wall.
That was awesome.
That was awesome, but Lord have mercy, I would have messed my pants. I don't do heights. Baby, I don't do heights. All right.
Just off into the dark, too. It's not even really height.
Yeah.
It's just gone.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's going to suck you down and kill you if you don't do it right.
And then John says they won't submit before dawn, so that tells us it's going to be a really long night.
Right.
And then we notice the wildling arrows aren't really hitting as well as they are hitting here and there, but they're not hitting as well as the Men of the Night's Watch shooting down.
Yeah.
Sure. Well,
so we see some go into the side of
the Men of the Night's Watch have the advantage of gravity. They're probably more disciplined Fletchers.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, and then the wildling arrows aren't really hitting until the giant steps forward.
Yeah, awesome.
And his arrow shoots through the roof of their little little post.
He's
at
got
the
an
top
arrow
of the
the
wall.
size of a surfboard.
Yeah.
Yep.
that he can propel a mile into the sky.
It shoots through a brother and shoots him way up in the sky and into the lower courtyard of Castle Black.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
It doesn't even slow down. It picks him up.
Yep.
Like a bus.
He wasn't even there.
It almost looked like it was
Wasn't even
gaining
there.
momentum rather than slowing down. Yeah.
Like a feather that landed on something. Just whoosh off it went.
Right. And then we get to see some of the fighting on the ground down inside the castle wall, and it is brutal.
Yeah.
The Magnar Thin is kicking some serious ass, and he's mashing Brothers of the Night Watch into bits with, what did he have? It was like a spiked...
Yeah, I don't know what the weapon was.
What are those called? Maces or something?
A
spiked
mace?
Balls?
Is it? I forget. Is it a spike ball on a rigid?
I think it was a spike ball.
On a rigid pole?
Yeah, I think
it's
so.
a mace.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was dark, so it's hard to see. But,
right.
And then we see Oliver cowering when the Magnar takes a brother out right at his feet. And Ollie's the boy whose parents were killed by Egret.
Yeah.
And then he was sent
He's not
to go...
having a good month.
He was sent to tell the Night's Watch that they were about to be Seppa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then we see Egret taking out long curly-haired brothers left and right. And it's very confusing.
It's very Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Like we're point of view on Ygritte and just like firing at these guys.
That was hot.
Yeah.
To me, it seemed like she was trying to take him out without having to look at him.
Yes.
I think if she saw his face
and
his pretty eyes,
she knew she was vulnerable to him.
Yeah. I think you're absolutely
so
right.
I think she was trying to prove that she was, prove her worth.
She knows she can't look him in the eye and shoot him because she was looking him in the eye before and she shot him, but she missed.
Right.
And who was it? Was I think it was Tormund who said, "There's no way you missed."
He's like, "Bitch, you don't miss shit.
You don't miss. Not 3 times.
And not that close up.
Not that close up.
Yep.
No.
Yep. And then we see the wildlings break into the mess hall is what I called it.
Right.
And one gets surprised with a pot of boiling water to the face.
Awesome, as always.
Yeah.
And then the cook is butcher knifing people, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. We start to see
big
some
old
cutlery.
butcher knife.
Yeah.
I mean, cleaver.
The big old cleaver,
cleaver.
but it's like a cleaver for like killing a pig.
Yes.
At
Yeah.
range,
It was like cleaver on a yard pole or something.
Yes.
And then we see Janus come off the wall, and he starts running and dodging the fighting like a scared little mouse. And then he scurries right into the room where Gilly and the baby are. And I so wish she had taken his head off. That would have been nice. And then Pip and Sam are still double teaming to fire arrows when Egret puts an arrow through one side and out the other side of Pip's neck. And it made no sense to me that she left Sam there alive, though.
Yeah.
Why she didn't go boom, boom, I have no idea. That made no sense. other than we needed Sam to be alive
We
later.
need Sam to be alive.
Yeah. I
And
wondered
then,
about
of
that,
course,
too.
Sam has no idea that, she's
Right,
the
she's
one.
the one.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
he might have asked to see her feet.
Yeah.
And then,
I forgot the foot comment.
Yeah.
I've left that out.
yeah,
That was weird.
Sam's a kinky
Yeah.
little
Yeah,
one.
a little-
And then Sam tries to comfort Pip, but he dies a bloody death.
Yeah.
Very good acting on the part of this actor.
Yes.
Yeah,
He
with
died
the
good.
throat. He died real good.
Yeah, I was like, Sam, he's not going to be all right.
Yeah,
He's
no.
really not going to
No.
be all right.
You're gonna be okay,
Sam's like,
man.
I'm going to go get help.
Yeah.
Go get help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
Leave him to die alone. Anyway,
Help is trying to fend off a thousand men.
right.
Yeah.
That's where help is.
And then John orders the men to send barrels of rocks over the wall that crash onto the wildlings. And all the while, the mammoth and giants keep advancing. John and Grin, and I had a really hard time not typing green, but I obviously missed one. John and Grin watch as the giant turns the mammoth around so that his rear faces the wall. He punches out part of the outer gate and secures a rope so that the mammoth can pull the gate down. Pretty darn smart.
Pretty darn smart.
Yeah.
John sends Grin and his choice of 5 men down to secure the inner gate, as it appears the outer is coming down, whether they like it or not. And John tells him, hold the gate if they make it through.
Right.
And Grin
Fight
says
the
they
giant.
won't. And they both know that he's likely sending Grin to his death.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's his duty.
That's his duty.
So Grin says, come on, you lazy bastards, to the guys that he picks. And off they go. And then back on the ground, we see Tormund making his way towards Alistair. Yes!
Yes.
Yes! And they sword fight and punch it out on a landing. Alistair's wounded, though not immediately mortally. He's still yelling and barking orders as he's being dragged off. And then, so we don't know his fate, but Sam is still covered in Pip's blood with Pip across his lap, and Pip is staring up at him. So freaking creepy.
Yeah.
So freaking creepy.
Stony-eyed dead.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the way he was laying in his lap and just looking right up at him. Ugh.
Yeah.
And then Sam assesses the situation on the ground and heads down with a crossbow just in time to take a Thin out. It was a Thin, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. And then Grin makes it down, and Sam tells him that we need more men down here. And Grin says they have to go defend the gate, and Sam continues to insist they need more men. And this is when Sam learns that John is now in charge of the wall, and he better go talk to John about it.
Right.
And then Sam heads up the elevator to go talk to John, and he spots Ollie hiding. He commands Ollie to hoist the elevator up for him and wait for him to come back down. But he also tells him to grab a weapon and get fighting.
That's right.
And Ollie kind of pulls himself together. Ollie can't be that old, though. He's got to be like 10, right?
I wouldn't think
Not-
much more
don't know.
than that.
Yeah, it's hard, like you said.
He
it's hard
seems
to-
younger than Arya, who's supposed to be 10.
Yeah.
And then the mammoth continues to pull at the outer gate, and John has the men dropping lighted barrels of tar down on him.
Yep.
Right.
It runs off with his ass on fire, pulling a man's leg behind it, with one of the giants running over it.
Yeah.
That's one of my things with my kids. You know, like, there's certain times where, like, I need a moment, you know, and it's, is your ass on fire? No. Are you sure your ass isn't on fire? No. Then it can wait.
Anything but ass fire can wait.
In this case, it really was on fire.
It really was. It really was. And what it totally reminded me of is, you remember the mammothy thing from the Star Wars movies?
Sure,
yeah.
yeah.
I forget what they called it.
Banthas.
But when I was a kid, they had the costume for that at Marine World in Redwood City.
Oh, yeah.
And somewhere there's pictures of me with that costume.
Oh, funny.
You know, because it's this big, huge thing, you know. And it totally gave me flashbacks to my childhood.
Oh, that's funny.
Anyway, okay, and then they shoot it with what, I don't know if it's a lance or what. They shoot the one of the giants, and it looks like a lance or something. It's huge.
It would have to be.
Whatever they got him through the upper
It's
back.
an arrow to him.
Yeah, because
It's a
arrows
giant
are just
spear.
flea bites to
Yeah.
him. Yeah,
Right.
and so they let, I'm calling it a lance, through the back of the giant that's chasing after the mammoth. And then the main giant, the one with the big Star Trek nose, is pissed off when this happens, and he starts to single-handedly lift the outer gate after doing his big roar.
Roar.
Chewbacca
Gate
roar.
lifting.
Yeah.
Gate lifting Chewbacca roar.
And then just then, one of the barrels explodes while still atop the wall, taking out a couple of brothers with it. One of them goes flying down 700 feet to his death. And then Sam reaches the top of the wall and tells Jon that the wildlings are over the wall. Sir Alistair has fallen, and the castle will not stand much longer. And that's when we get, Ed, you have the wall.
Ed?
And that was supposed to be my ending, but I have 2 more lines.
Go ahead. Come on. Yeah, sure.
And then he tells him Jon tells Ed, if they try the mammoths again, drop fire. If the climbers get too high, drop the Sith on them. And then he says, and then Ed kind of mans up and he says, might as well enjoy our last night, right, boys? Light the fuckers up.
Light the fuckers up, absolutely. And so this was Alan's segment, which I'm running in his absence. And so Ed is taking over the wall. So basically, the wall's changing hands a lot.
Yeah.
at this point.
Yep.
You have the con. No, you have the con. And so Ed's got control of the whole the gang up on top of. The inner gate defender, the guy is still trying to bust through the main gate.
And Tyrion will have none of that.
And so Jon is handed over the wall, and he's going to descend with Sam in order to deal with the situation. And he told Sam, "I don't want you in the fight." And Sam says, you have to stop protecting me and this and that. And Jon points. He says, "I need him more than I need you."
Yep.
Right. And it's Ghost. Right.
Right.
And people were like, why does Sam have the key? Or why did Jon have the key if Alistair locked him up? But Alistair told him, you go lock your beast up.
Yeah.
Right.
So, of course, Sam has the key. I mean,
right.
Jon
would have the key.
Right.
Yeah.
And he'd have to feed him and walk him and
exactly.
whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
So Sam goes and he unleashes the direwolf, and the direwolf joins into the fight. So we got Ghost tearing his way into some wildlings, and then we have Ygritte. Jon is joins the fight, gets some good Kit Harington kung fu ninja rolling sword play, and I don't have it in my notes. Is it right here where we get the 360, where we finally see how this whole fight is going? It's somewhere in the midst of this.
I don't remember exactly where.
Yeah,
it is.
it's a 360-degree camera, or falling camera shot that gives you the entire kaleidoscope. I think it was a little bit earlier, but it's pretty amazing.
Just before we get too far along, the part down at the gate where Grin is with his 5 other guys. I thought that was a really good scene with him too, because he's like, they're all freaking out, and how are we going to stop a giant? And he gets them saying the oath, and
they're saying the oath.
Yeah, and it gives them the strength to face the giant, who actually comes right up to the inner gate, and so I thought that was a really good thing.
Right.
As far as his character, because you pretty much know they're all dead.
Right.
They're not going to survive this encounter.
Yeah.
To me, like, Pip, Grin, and Sam are Jon's true brothers of the Night's Watch.
Yeah.
And all of them really stepped up, and unfortunately 2 of them died.
Right.
They're still alive in the books.
Oh, well. They're just here.
But they were phenomenal on this.
So then we have Ygritte finally gets a deadbeat on Jon, but she just can't shoot him.
No.
So they make a little eye contact, and he sees that she's having trouble with it, and then arrow right through the chest.
Yep.
And we turn and we see it was the little kid.
And this is after Jon's been through this entire battle with the Thin Warrior.
Yeah, everybody leaves Jon alone as he goes up and grabs Ygritte and holds her, and she gives us one last "you-know-nothing, Jon Snow." All the cannibal, thin, chopping, mutilating, giant, woolly mammoth, scythe swinging, Tormund dudes. They just give him the space. I thought that was real respectful. Let's just not kill the leader.
Let them just have their moment.
Let's just have their moment.
It was a nice moment.
It was a nice moment.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, so we're at the end of that story.
To me, I was just a little... I mean, a lot of people just can't stand Jon, period. But the amount of time between the last time Jon and Ygritte were together and this scene, I think, was too great.
So you don't really feel that...
You don't feel the connection. You don't feel the intensity as much.
Right.
People kind of lost interest in the storyline because it's been so long. Whereas in the books, she shoots him, and within like 24 hours, the battle's going down. So he's still grievously injured from her, and is fighting through the pain, and he's delirious, and he's whatever. And
this feels like it's been weeks at least.
And he actually finds her body, but she's still alive. And
yes, he doesn't. I forget in the book, he doesn't see her get shot.
No, they're taking inventory of the bodies the next day, and he finds her, and she's still alive, but she's dying.
She's critically injured, but dying.
Right.
But alive. Okay.
And he does not know who.
Oh, okay.
She
just died in the fight.
He checked to make sure it wasn't one of his arrows.
Right.
Because, like, you could see her arrows, she all had white feathers, so they can tell which arrows are theirs.
Right.
And he was like, he wished he knew what brother it was, but then he knew he'd have to kill the brothers, so it's better he doesn't know.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, in this way, though, it also,
Yeah,
it
kind
was
of it's a different thing, because he was supposed to have
story.
been kind of mentoring this boy and kind of have somewhat of a connection with this boy, and for Sam to be the one to say, hey, get in there and fight, and
and he did, and
Yeah.
of course
Yeah.
the one he kills is Ygritte.
But she killed his mama and
She
daddy.
kills his mom and dad.
So that Finn could eat his mama and daddy, remember?
Yeah.
She put an arrow through his father's neck while he was walking with him.
Yeah.
Talking about
she was not an
and talking
innocent.
about potatoes.
That was food prep for the Finn. It was skewering him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. A little hibachi action there going on. Okay, so then we have we start to wrap up the battle. We have Tormund gets captured, and John's like, "All right, Tormund, look, it's just over." He's like, "I'll show you how a man ends it," and then they just slap him around. I thought that was pretty great. He didn't get his big suicide run fight. He's hauled off.
Yeah.
Right.
So we haven't seen the last of him, I don't think. Sam comes and rescues Gilly out of the pantry and makes note that he kept his
We had
promise.
the big anchor.
The scythe. Yeah, I missed the scythe.
Wow, that was awesome. Sorry.
Right before we slapping Tormund around, this is Ed's big moment.
Yeah.
As the guys are climbing up the wall, Ed says, "All right, release the scythe," and we're all like,
timed it
"The
perfectly.
scythe? What the hell?
What the heck?
What is this scythe of which you speak?"
Yeah.
And then down comes this thing. It was really awesomely done from the shot on the
It was awesome.
from the side
I
angle,
love how
and you
it
just
was
see this.
embedded in the ice too.
You just see this, this cloud of ice and death just
Yes.
headed this way, and like a wilding, like, what the fuck? And and it just mows through a few of them, and they fall and knock a few others down, and just
absolutely not in the books, but frickin' cool.
totally freaking cool.
Freaking cool.
Yeah.
That's a great move.
Yeah.
It would be. They should add it into the books. They should go into the book and then say scythe right here.
Right.
You could
Put one of those little editor arrows.
But really, how fierce would those people be once they got to the top of the wall? After climbing in the freezing cold 700 feet, are they really going to have energy to then fight the men of the Night's Watch?
It's ridiculous.
You'd think they'd be
It's
little tired.
It's 700 feet's absurd.
And it seems like they could just kick them in the nose and knock them off the wall.
Right.
Yeah, but you have to keep kicking. This is the thing, right? The idea is you get one guy up there who gets a ladder down. And then the guys who come up the ladder are the ones who are going to be a little fresher because they're climbing a ladder and not So it's not like you're expected to be in much condition to fight after doing the ice climbing.
Right.
Okay, well then Sam comes to Gilly in the
Yes.
pantry. Yes.
Right.
And she's happy he's still alive, and he sees Jenna Slint there.
Yeah.
Cowering.
What do we do?
What do we do with the coward?
I have ideas.
Yeah.
They involve potatoes.
Potatoes. We're going to be putting potatoes in different places. We're going to have Ramsay Snow question you.
And he'll have to peel potatoes for everyone's meals forever.
Ramsay knows how to peel a potato. That's much for sure.
Ramsay
Put him in the stew instead of
what is that supposed to mean?
Because the Boltons, they flay people.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So then the morning light breaks, and the wildlings like pull back, and they've been driven off. And Sam is saying, "Oh, this is a great victory. We did this and they did that." And it's like John is like, "They're gonna be back tomorrow. They outnumber us 1,000 to 1."
Yeah.
And that's a generous estimation at this point, 1,000 to 1.
Yeah.
So
because they killed quite a few crows, so now.
Yeah, John needs some kind of plan.
I think it was somebody that rode into Bald Move, tried to count, and it was
really?
in the 40s something.
Yeah, that's like
down,
half
but I
your
remember
guys.
that.
That's
Yeah.
like half your guys.
So now it's like 2,000 to 1.
Right.
Yeah. Totally.
And that's not including, all of Ygritte's
Yeah.
loosed arrows that we didn't see hit.
Right.
That may have actually hit.
Right.
Exactly. So, but anyway, I have the audio here for Sam and John looking at the aftermath.
We held them off.
For one night.
This is a great victory.
Great victory. Mance was testing our defenses. He almost made it through. And he has more giants, he has more mammoths. He has 1,000 times as many men. They'll hit us again tonight. Maybe we can hold them off for a day or two, but we'll never beat them.
Where are we going?
Going to find Mance.
You can't do that. No one gave you any orders.
Who's left to give orders? The Wilding army is only an army because of Mance. He united 100 warring tribes. Without Mance, they lose their leader. They lose their purpose. They go back to fighting each other, scatter back to their home.
Without Mance? You're going to kill him?
I'm gonna try.
They'll never let you within 100 yards of him. And even if they did, even if you managed to kill him...
They'll kill me. They don't go, they'll kill me anyway. They'll kill the rest of us too.
They won't just kill you. They'll boil you, they'll flay you, they'll make it last days.
You're right. It's a bad plan. What's your plan?
That's a good question. So John is going to go off and try to parlay with Mance, carrying apparently not much in the way of leverage.
But again, he's got no sword, no horse,
Right.
no provisions.
Right.
Well, they're camped pretty close by.
He's supposed to still be wounded from...
He's supposed to still be wounded. He wouldn't. It'd be tough to make that walk.
Regardless, he'd have a hell of a freaking headache from that anvil.
But the sense I got from the distance to the fire and everything like that is that you're less than a day's, far less than a day's walk away.
That would be my
better be
guess,
less
too.
than a day, because once the sun goes down, the battle's going to start again.
It's true. Yeah.
From what he anticipates,
Right.
And so I don't think that it's like not having a horse and not having provisions is a huge problem. The army that you want to parlay with is a couple miles away, maybe 20 miles away at most.
Other than it's freaking freezing out there and stuff.
But it's freezing, and so you might want to bring a couple guys with you, but then you're really reducing your force.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's the kind of thing you can't really ask anybody to volunteer to do. Let's go talk to Mance Raider.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Fuck
plus,
you, buddy.
He's the only one that knows who Mance Raider is, how to get in, how to talk to the wildlings.
Right.
I'm excited to see Saren Hines again.
Yeah.
So I want to see Saren Hines again, and this is diverging enough from the books that I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen in the next episode. They're playing with it a little bit, pretty nicely.
Yeah, for me, I got the distinct impression that John really doesn't have that much to live for at this point because Ygritte died.
I think there's a little bit of that fatalism.
So he's kind of pulling the suicide mission to try and save whatever he can.
Right.
It kind of felt like that to me. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see where they take this part of the story.
And he thinks all of his family's dead because, like in the books, Sam didn't tell him that he saw. Bran.
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, what does he really have to live for?
Right.
I mean, he's just going to give his all to his duty.
Exactly.
Right. And your best shot, I mean, the thing is, your best shot is also not to send one of your best fighters out alone to negotiate with the enemy.
Right.
Best fighter, best leader all by himself.
Right.
But that is the plan, and I guess we'll be seeing next week how that unfolds for him.
Right. Be interesting. There's so many things that we anticipate are going to happen next week. I don't know how they're going to fit it all in one episode.
Well, it's going to go longer.
66 minutes, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it's going to disappoint some of us.
Yes.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Everybody will be disappointed to some degree.
Yeah.
There will be some disappointment, some payoffs, some...
Guaranteed at least a minor amount of disappointment for everyone.
Right.
Yes.
But I personally am very sad to see Ygritte go.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, God, of course.
Yeah.
I just adored her.
Yeah, when I read
She's a
that
great
chapter,
character.
I was
But
like,
I knew
oh,
she was going to
Shion's not
die.
gonna-
I knew she was going to die.
Well, because you liked her.
Yeah, well, there's that.
Right.
There is that.
I think she died the way that she wanted to die.
I thought it was nice the way they did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She died as a warrior.
Yeah.
Right. She died fighting.
She died the
What
way she lived.
What she saw herself as, so.
Well, let's write out with a little bit of viewer.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Listener mail.
Heather Mace. So, watching the episode and the wildings are killing crows left and right, and thinking at the end, I'm pretty sure the Wilding army outnumbers them by more than 1,000 times now. Try 2 or 3 times.
Exactly.
Yep.
Irene Bailey Bird. I was surprised when that anchor was released and destroyed the Wildings climbing up the wall. I was like, yeehaw for the crows. I know, wasn't that? That was awesome.
Yes.
Now that was a smart defensive move. I was surprised by a one night watch member who was in the pantry with Gilly. Oh,
Janos Slint.
Janos.
yeah,
Remember his name,
bad
Janos
man.
Slint.
Yeah.
Bad man.
Fucking coward.
Very bad man.
I thought they were all defenders of the realm to the end, but I guess not.
Not all of them.
And it was Tyrion that sent him to the wall, right?
Yeah, for being sneaky in King's
Right.
Landing.
And
Kinda doing
generally
what he's
not
doing.
doing his
Yeah.
job, which is
It's
what he's
cowardly
doing here.
shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sam surprised me. He might have been afraid, but he put an arrow into that guy. I wasn't expecting Pip to die. Tears.
Yeah.
Aw.
Poor
But-
Pip.
Yeah.
Poor Pip.
But overall, a really decent and good episode.
There you go.
Yeah.
And some new meat. Melissa Skeen Setzer.
Cool.
Action, action, action. Honestly, I was a little bored by it at times. The battles aren't really my thing, I guess. I mean, I appreciate the effects and the directing and that it was just really well done, but I don't feel like it moved much of the story along. Other than, of course, the battle for the wall is over for now. I did think that Jon Snow knows something about battling and sword fighting, and the giants were pretty badass while they lasted. All miss Rose Leslie, but not Ygritte. Maybe should go back to Downton. No, that would be like a death toll. Oh, I mean,
No.
like death sentence. Downton is like fucking sucking donkey dick. So boring. I literally forgot that I was watching it.
Sion asked us to tell her if she was saying anything that might offend you.
I actually have not watched any of this last season.
And our first
I gave
nominee is Downton Abbey
My
sucks donkey dick.
DVR kept not recording it for some reason, and I kept checking it and
Your
checking
DVR is
Yeah.
knows your
It's trying
taste.
So
to
then I
help
actually
you.
bought some episodes on Amazon and still didn't watch them.
I watched him at Sion was into it more than me, and so I'd watch
But
him
not
at random.
now.
I kept reading because I don't give a damn about spoilers. So I kept reading and kind of getting an idea of what's going on with Downton, and it just sounded so depressing and so slow moving. And
Yes.
Yeah.
No mammoths, no giants.
I
No
tried
giants.
watching it. I couldn't do it.
All right.
Sorry. I know it was supposed to be a good series, but
I think
couldn't watch it.
the first year was good, second year was okay, and then blah.
Yeah, I saw the first whole season and thought that was really good. But
I
it
bet-
didn't really fill me with a desire to see the next season.
No.
I binged watched when the second season was almost over, and then caught up, and then
Oh.
it finished the second season with everyone.
Yeah.
Just no third.
That'd be swell. Well, as you see, we don't agree with that one. We think she should. I personally think she should have her own thriller show,
Oh, there you go.
and she should be the lead.
Yeah.
And I
I think she'd be
and
an
I should,
excellent lead.
and I should direct it.
Orphan Red.
Oh, can I help produce?
Sure.
Dozens and dozens of
We're also gonna get oh, I can't say her name wrong. Crazy Eyes, the actress that does Crazy Eyes from Orange. We're gonna get her in it too. I'd like to see her play a villain.
Udo is her first name or something?
Uzo or something.
Uzo.
Yeah. She's awesome.
She's a very cool.
She'd be a really good villain.
Did you see that Funny or Die sketch she did?
Yeah.
Where she was auditioning for every role.
Pretending
to audition.
every role but
But Crazy Eyes.
Crazy Eyes.
Yeah. She tried us out for Piper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With this wig on.
Blonde wig.
It was very funny.
That's pretty great.
And this is really sweet. For the record, I did sign and cheer a little for Sam and Gilly. I love those crazy kids. Yes, I think we all
Yeah.
Yeah.
do. Von Carl Brown. I always like saying that name.
Von Carl Brown.
Sounds like a title almost when you say it out
Yeah.
Chevauché.
I really enjoyed this episode. I was captivated and all in the whole way. Felt like a mini movie, which was great. Yeah, it kind of did to me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a way.
The score was amazing. Yes.
It was.
Great action, and they must have spent a pretty penny on it. Oh, yeah. Whoever had the idea of putting this episode after the duel last week is brilliant. I was expecting a big letdown, but I was pleasantly surprised how much I enjoyed it. And then another new person. This person comes to us from the True Detective group that we have. I can't stop watching. True Detective.
True Detective.
C. Crash Fragoso. I think they did a fantastic job in this episode. I just watched it again with my husband. I agree, haters are going to hate, but this was a side plot which book readers have been waiting all season for. They nailed it. And how can people say there was no plot development? This is a huge episode. This episode is a huge part of the plot. Anyways, loved it. And now I'm going to register a formal complaint.
Uh-oh.
Pat Spoonagel.
I was going to say, where's the Pat comments?
Yeah, where is the Pat comment?
I don't know.
And new vocabulary word.
Where's Pat?
Because we're stuck with Chevauché for another week now.
Chevauché. Oh, you missed this.
I did miss this.
Oh, you missed a good one, Molly. Alan and I were really naughty.
Oh, Alan was having a blast with that one.
So we're reading this thing, right?
Before we started
Pat sends in these
recording.
really cool things. So right before recording, I'm looking, I'm like, wait a minute, there's a word in here that I don't know. And that's kind of embarrassing already by itself. So I show it to Jason and Alan.
And Jason doesn't know.
And
I don't know what I do.
The three of us knew. And that's a Georgetown boy and a UCLA boy. And I'm like,
yeah.
Fuck's sake. Okay. So we had to look it up.
Okay.
We really like the word.
We like the word.
I think I'd like to name a cat Chevauché.
Chevauché.
That should have been Beatrix's name.
So what's it mean?
It means basically terror-based guerrilla warfare.
Nice.
So kind of like
or just a lot of chaos.
Warfare tactic where you're trying to create
Noise
chaos in order to disrupt the enemy.
It's kind of,
Yeah, it's your cat.
It was a medieval tactic.
Yeah. Chevauché. Yes, I just loved it. So
And it's very
Pat
French.
is in my poopy list.
Oh. Oh dear.
Jump in.
He better have a good excuse.
Now, did you say you weren't going to pick on anyone?
I'm not picking on him. I'm helping him.
You're
be
challenging him to be his best self.
That's it. Yes.
Yeah, that's.
We're
that's the
petitioning for
ticket.
his wisdom.
There
He
you
needs
go.
to bring
That's
us
the
a new
ticket.
word
There you
next
go.
week.
All right, boys and girls. I don't have anything for a spoiler. Do you want to do a spoiler section? All
Yeah.
right, so we're skipping the spoiler section this week.
Getting all ready for the next week?
Getting all ready for next week. The double DBs have said this is going to be the biggest finale ever.
Wow.
Which doesn't mean a lot because Game of Thrones
No.
finales are kind of muted.
Right.
So it'll be less muted.
It's usually episode 9, the penultimate.
That's and this was pretty. This was some Helm's Deep shit, man. They went all the way with it.
The better. Oh, sorry, honey.
Oh, you're knocking everything around for her.
The cat didn't do it.
Well, do we have anything else before we sign off? Does anybody have anything else?
I think you're sexy.
Okay. Well, until
Especially
next
with the little
week.
eyebrow things when he said Chevauché.
Chevauché.
He kind of bats his eyelashes.
Yeah.
when he
Did you
says
have
that.
you heard the new? Have you heard the?
What?
He's using it for Tyrion's voice around the house.
Oh, you want me to do my Marty?
Have you been hearing his Marty?
No.
Oh my God, you have missed
Marty from True Detective.
Yes.
Well, this is my Marty.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So I've already said this. So I'll tell you after the cast. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Until next week. I promise not to die.
Whew.